WBAP.com.
We're going to continue to stabilize markets and decrease the prices at a time when the actions of other countries have caused such volatility.
Okay. Hold on a second. Bill, look at me through the glass here. Do I have stupid written on my forehead? Take a look there, see what you think. No, I didn't think so. Well, Joe Biden's staff propped him up in front of a camera today, and he sternly read what was put in front of him on the teleprompter. The reason for high gas prices, those evil, greedy oil companies, and I know some people bought into it because I got emails from them. Obviously, they don't know anything about oil and gas exploration, production, or refinement, but that's, can't take everybody to school. They made record profits, but it's everybody's fault but his for declaring war on fossil fuels. As I said before, the analogy is, hi, I'm the president of the United States. I'm gonna ban every cigarette in America. And then 6 months later, hey, tobacco companies, start producing more cigarettes. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. The reason for high prices is not the greedy oil companies. It's not Putin. It's not the Ukraine debacle. It's not anything but the Green New Deal morons and a president that doesn't know what the hell he's doing by going out and saying, I'm going to stop every bit of drilling in America and we're all going to be driving Jetson cars, I guess. What do you think happens to investment for oil and gas exploration when the president comes out and says, I'm going to stop all drilling? Guess what? Your investors dry up. Yeah, doesn't sound like a great investment to invest in oil and gas exploration if the president just gets through telling you on national television, I'm going to ban all drilling. No more drilling. So they go find something to invest in. And by the way, drilling oil and gas, it's not like sticking a straw in the ground and sucking out the oil. Boom, there you go. And another week, it'll be at your gas station. It's done years in advance. You've got geology to do. You've got all kinds. Then you've got to go through all the permitting. Just because you have an oil and gas lease does not mean you have the right to drill. Well, Rick, how do you know? I was an oil and gas attorney for 15 years. That's how I know. Permian Basin, Williston Basin, Powder River Basin, you name it. Shale oil, one of the best things that ever was found as far as the technology. We don't need the Saudis to cough up more oil. We need the guy sitting behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office to take about a 6-month break and let us get back to doing what we do well. All right. See, that's what happens when you go off on a rant. Jay Young, CEO of King Operating Corporation and an oil and gas expert. Jay, thanks for being with me. I appreciate it.
Man, I'm singing your tunes, man. You are right on. You are right on, Rick. Once again, with what's going on in the world and what Biden is doing, and I guess he's just going to fill these strategic reserves back up with oil from I'm not sure where or at what price, but he's not going to be able to do that either. But this is just it's like a Ponzi scheme.
Yep.
Of what he's doing is, so as George Bush said. 2006, he said, hey, we're addicted to oil, and unfortunately the people we get it from don't really like us too much, and that's true. We're not producing enough oil in the United States to not care and to not have every barrel needs to be accounted for. And when OPEC, you lose 2 million barrels a day with OPEC, you're going to lose 1 million barrels a day with the strategic reserves after the election. And he puts 15 million barrels on the markets. If everybody doesn't see this just a political ploy, for a Democratic Congress, man,
they're too stupid to vote.
Really see it.
They
need to understand it.
If people don't get what this is all about, first of all, most people had never even heard of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. That's reserved, as the name implies, for catastrophic events. You know, a hurricane comes in, wipes out a refinery. God forbid another terrorist attack on a refinery or distribution center or something like that. That's what it's for. It's not to lower the price of gas at the pump 6, 7, 8 cents a gallon for a month for the midterm elections. And you mentioned another good point, putting it back. We're now at a 40-year low. This guy's taken more out of the reserve to try and cover his own incompetent butt than all the other presidents combined. You know, I remember when Trump, you know, oil was one of those deals where, you know, he was a businessman, and oil was selling, I think, at about $25 a gallon, and a bunch became available, and he said, let's get it. We'll stick it in the reserve. You never know. And the Democrats blocked it. Okay, you're never going to get it that cheap again, probably. And here we are. We keep draining the strategic reserve for, as you say, a Ponzi scheme. It's all smoke and mirrors. There's no substance to it.
Exactly. You're supposed to be drilling in the United States for every barrel that you use. You're supposed to be, you know, drilling, which you say, you know, it takes a long time, which it does. We've got wells now in areas that we bought projects for, and it's hard to get a rig. It's hard to, you know, get the money together, and then you have to get the rigs and the people, and it's hard to get pipe these days. I mean, it's hard to get almost everything in line, which means that it's just taking everybody longer to do it. And the crazy thing is that we're not back. This is my sixth time that I've seen oil prices go down 50%. My sixth time in my career. And I'm a fourth generation guy, so my great-grandparents saw it a lot more than I did, or probably, or whatever, you know. I'm just saying that it's done it a lot. And the crazy thing about what's going on right now, Rick, normally when you see prices go down this far, this fast, is the best solution for high oil prices is high oil prices.
Right.
Because normally oil and gas companies take advantage of the higher oil prices and start drilling again. You know, hey, we're going back to drilling and we're excited and we're going to make all this money, and then they oversupply the demand and then prices come down. I mean, it's all a cycle. You know, that's what cycles are all about. But this time it's not happening because there's not, you know, the Devons and Exxons, they're increasing their rig count a little bit, but not as much as we should. We're only at 70% of the rig count before the pandemic. 70%. Like you say, who wants to go back in and start drilling and putting money out there on the market when the president's saying we're done with oil and we're not going to.
That's my point.
We need to quit.
You know, we used to look at rig counts across the country to determine, you know, where we were going in what direction, how quickly. You know, forget that. After the president comes out, not once, not twice, but at least 4 or 5 times and says, under my presidency, fossil fuels will cease to become a reality and we'll stop drilling. Well, forget the rig count. What's the investment look like now?
Right. Oh, yeah. It's crazy. It's costing us more to do it. There's less of it, and we just can't seem to get everybody. And nobody's really coming back to work as much as they were before, so it's harder to get. I mean, it's just harder to get everything that you need in order to get rigs and to get everything back on. It's more expensive, which is okay. I mean, we normally see prices go up when the price of oil goes up, the cost normally comes up. But we're seeing now it's harder to get. Somebody said the other day, they said, hey, well, we put in our AFE, which is called Authority for Expenditure. Right. You probably know that. And telling your listeners, AFE is Authority for Expenditure. So when we sit there and look at we have a 5-well program coming up, and we think it's going to cost $5 million a well, $25 million. So we're going to go out and spend $25 million. A rig's going to cost $15,000 a day, which is part of what we're doing. And somebody said the other day, they said, hey, if you can find a rig for $30,000 a day. Now, this AFE was done 6 months ago, right? Part of the cycle and what you have to do in our business, put planning together, look for the money, find the money, go to the banks, go to the investors, you know. So we thought it was $15,000 a day. And somebody said the other day, they said, you're trying to get a rig out here? If you can find a rig for $30,000 a day, you better grab it as fast as you can. And we're like, whoa. We thought it was only 15. And they said, well, yeah, it was, 6 months ago or a year ago. But today, there's no rigs available. Even if you can get one, you're going to pay higher prices.
Well,
so
Jay, you and I both know, having background in the business, what's happening now with this administration, 4 weeks away from the midterms, it's all about perception. There's no substance. Yeah, we'll cut loose, we'll drain 15 million barrels from the reserve. Prices at the pump will go down 6-8 cents a gallon for maybe a month. And then you can say to people, see, what we're doing is working because we're lowering gas prices. And you and I both know it's all for show, and they're going to shoot back up unless Biden stops this war on fossil fuels. These prices are going to go through the roof. Jay, right. It's always a pleasure. Jay Young, CEO of King Operating Corporation and an oil and gas expert.